And we are back with Dr. Chandler and Dr. Mendelson. And so we are talking from Cone Health points of view, mental health, physical health, about back to school. Let's start off, Dr. Mendelson, about that question of when your kid comes home, they've had a bad day, and they say, I've had a bad day, I don't want to talk about it, it's fine. So how do you get them to talk about it?
What I like to say is connection first, communication second. So look for opportunities to connect with your child. That first day of school can just be so overwhelming, especially a bad first day of school. Your child might just be exhausted, and they really might not be emotionally in a place where they want to talk about it, and that's okay. So it can be helpful to think with your child, ideally in advance, about what would be relaxing for them. Maybe they just need to decompress in front of the TV for a little bit. Maybe you can sit with them and do a Lego together or do some drawing, where the opportunity is there that as they decompress, if and when they feel ready to talk, they'll do that. But at the very least, they're getting to connect with you and they're feeling that support and that availability from you.
Instead of that like one-on-one of tell me everything right now.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. All right. So Dr. Chandler, when it comes to breakfast and lunch, we want to make sure that we're sending stuff in the lunchbox, A, that would be eaten, we hope, and B, that's something that's good for them.
Yeah. So, and nutrition is important, of course, when we go to school. Making sure we have breakfast before we leave is an important thing that we often forget, especially with teenagers. High protein foods that are easy to make and easy to take out the door, peanut butters if you're not allergic, yogurts, things that you can easily kind of carry if you don't have time in the morning. If you have time, the whole egg, sausage, and that would be great. Lunch, I would recommend as soon as your child's able, have them participate with you in packing that lunch. I'm a mom too, and that worked really well for my kids, where we would say, okay, I would, you give, depending on their age, you give them a certain limited number of options. What do we want to pack? And when they take ownership in that, they're actually more likely to eat what you pack.
That's true too. Okay. All right, Dr. Mendelson, no one wants to think that their kid's going to be bullied, but what happens if you notice that your child is being bullied? What should you do? How do you step in as the parent?
Yeah, it's such a challenging situation to be in, and it can be hard to notice those signs because unfortunately, many times when children are being bullied, they're hesitant to open up. They may be afraid of the bullies finding out, kids calling them a tattletale, repercussions from the bullies, or they may feel ashamed or embarrassed of the bullying. So a good first step is just to normalize the experience. Certainly if you as a parent have been bullied, it's a good time to open up, let them know, like, yes, this happened to me too. And again, it's a good time to reach out for support. Having someone that your child can talk to who's a neutral third party, where they know they have that confidentiality, no one's going to tell on them, can be really key in helping them respond to bullying with resilience.
What happens when you find out that you are the parent of the bully? I mean, that happens.
Yes, it certainly does. Equally tough situation, if not more so, because often, certainly if the parent has experienced bullying, that can trigger a lot of emotions, disappointment, anger, what have you, toward your own child, which is a tough situation to be in. But it's important to remember that bullying has significant negative outcomes for kids who are the targets of bullying and the bullies themselves. So if your child is engaging in bullying behavior, they are causing themselves harm and they need help. A good first step is to reach out to their educational team to try to learn more about the larger context of what is going on. Educators have a front row seat to some of the more nuanced social interactions, where maybe they've noticed if your child is suddenly excluded from a friend group that they used to be in, or they're not participating how they used to. And then it's a key of having a difficult conversation with your child where you do your best to come from a place of empathy and compassion and trying to understand, validating whatever emotions they may disclose, while firmly and clearly communicating a boundary around the behavior itself.
Yeah, what the actions are.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about what should be top of mind for parents and caregivers when they're planning for a healthy entire school year.
Okay. Well, I want to kind of bounce off of what you said there. One of the most important things to me that I talk about at every single visit, if I can, is electronics and more importantly, social media. And so the longer you can push off social media, the better. We know that social media is associated with depression and anxiety in teenagers. Absolutely. And the one thing that's different from when we were children compared to kids now is before you'd go home and the bully is not with you anymore. That bully's at school. Now the bully can follow you anywhere you bring that phone.
Right.
So keeping the phone charged, not in the kids' room at night. I want you to charge it in the kitchen or in the parents' room. And seeing what they're looking at, holding off on social media, and just talking to them about it. The only other thing I did want to mention was Cone Pharmacy. They were very sweet and lovely to provide us with these little back-to-school bags, which puts a bunch of different items in the same bag at a much lower cost than if we bought them separately. So
all the things that you would need to get through the school year, like
Yes.
allergy stuff, Band-Aids.
Allergies, Band-Aids, ibuprofen, Tylenol, a thermometer. And so these are really, these are sweet little bags. They're available at all
Just
the Cone
grab and go.
pharmacies, grab and go.
All right, we got one of the questions. We got 1 minute. Are there any emerging illnesses or outbreaks that parents should be aware of this year, and what can parents do to prevent them?
Yes, important question. We are seeing whooping cough. As a lot of people probably know watching the news, we are seeing measles, as a lot of people know. And I hope that we aren't going to see more vaccine preventable diseases. These vaccines were made for a reason, to prevent things that cause kids to die, kids to be paralyzed, kids to be in the ICU, and all it takes is the vaccines to prevent them. So I would just say again, please be sure your kid is protected.
Right, and not just your kid, but the people in your family who are going to
Your
be really close to
family,
your kid, especially the whooping cough and stuff like that, right?
Oh yeah, grandma, newborn baby, sibling.
Issues there. Okay, thank you both for joining us on this very first day of school, hoping to help with some of the jitters, hoping to make sure that you have a healthy school year.